Okay, so it's now Wednesday, the 26th of March. I'm doing this video to replace the one that we cut short yesterday. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to spend the whole of this video going through my settings. So you should be able to see my four charts on one screen. I'm going to look at one in particular, which is Euro US. And I'm also going to move my stuff around on this side here. So, so this is the chart for Euro US. I am going to focus on the settings for the entire video, but before I do that, I'm just going to point out what I can actually see on my screen. I can see these dull red and dull green candles are the actual price candles. These bright red and bright green are what we call the smooth Heikin-Ashi candles. We call this the wave. So we've got a green wave going where price is going up, which changes to a red wave when price starts to go down, back to a green when it goes up, back to a down, back to a red when it goes down. So the wave is an important factor in my strategy. The MA crossover, which is when the yellow line crosses over the white, is what we call the moving average crossover. That's an important part of the strategy. And the Wada Atta, this indicator in the bottom, is also important. We've got an ideal situation on here where we've got the orange line, which we call the dead zone line. We've got the blue line, which we call the explosion line. We want the explosion line to be above the blue line, sorry, above the orange line. That's the blue explosion line above the orange dead zone line and moving away. So this is a classic situation where the blue line is moving away from the orange line. And the third component of this indicator is the histogram bars. And you can see we've got a dark red series of dark red histogram bars, which are all above the blue line. That's an ideal situation telling us we're safe to get in for a sell. And as you can see, that was when price dropped down. So if we'd been in for a sell, we would have won that trade. You can see here the opposite, where we've got the blue line moving away from the orange line. We've got the histogram bars, the dark green histogram bars above the blue line, and that is coinciding with this rise in price here. So we're looking for four things in the strategy. First of all, we look for price to be either above the green trend line, which we go on at the start of the session. If price gets above the green trend line, we start looking for buys. If price drops below the red line, we start looking for sells. So after that condition is satisfied, the trade assistant will look for a change in a wave. So it looks for a change from green to red if you're looking for a sell, or from red to green if we're looking for a buy. And then we look, the third component is we look for the MA crossover, and that situation there is where the 13 moving average crossed over the 200 moving average. And that tells you good to get into a sell. And here, if you look below here, this is telling us no, this is telling us that there's insufficient momentum and volume in the market. So it's telling us not to get in. So those are the four components of the strategy. I'm now going to, if I right click on this chart, anywhere on the chart, click on the expert list, click on properties, and you'll be able to see my, just move that out the way. Let me just move it a little bit further out the way. We'll be fine. Okay, so we're looking at the Crossfire brackets for 2.07, which this version of Crossfire was released yesterday or the day before. This is the one that you need to be on to be bang up to date. So the first thing you need to do, if you download my set list, which I've published already. If you download that and you simply copy that onto your MT5, the first thing you need to do is to replace my email address with your email address. It won't work if you've got my email address in. So that one there, that line there, you need to remove my email address and insert your email address. That is a security feature and it must be done. So then we're looking at expert properties. And the first line is asking if you imagine your trade assistant is somebody that you've employed and you're giving it detailed instructions on how to do its job. So you're going to tell the trade assistant to use the risk percentage for lot calculation. Now, what that means is that if, for instance, you have a risk percentage of 0.5%, which I do on my list, the trading assistant will calculate your lot size to always limit your losses to 0.5% of your balance. So, for instance, I'm running on an FTMO demo account. It's a $100,000 account. 0.5% is $500. So I'm asking the trade assistant to calculate my lot size before it gets me into a trade. And I want it to restrict my losses to a maximum of $500. There will be occasions when there is some slippage, and that's due to the delay between computers, and that might only be milliseconds, but that can actually mean that you're actually taken out of the trade at a slightly different level than you intended. But 0.5% or $500 is the amount I'm prepared to risk on this pair. That's important because remember, on the crossfire strategy in the afternoon session, the UK afternoon session, we're looking at 4 pairs. So it's possible that your trade assistant could potentially get you into 4 trades at the same time or in the same session, and each of those trades you'll have a maximum loss of 0.5%. So the next line, we've got the risk to reward ratio, and I've got mine at 2. So I'm asking my trade assistant if it is risking 0.5, then my reward will be 1. It's 1 to 2. So if I change this percentage risk, if I change that to 1% with a risk to reward of 1 to 2, my reward would be 2%. So it's 1 to 2, 0.5 becomes a 1. Ignore the entry lots. That's as it came out the box. We're now looking at stop loss pips. On Euro USD, I operate on a stop loss of 3 pips. The other 3 pairs in the afternoon session have different stop losses. For instance, GBP USD, I use a 4 pip stop loss, and the 2 Canadian dollar pairs, I use a 5 pip stop loss. And that's important because the smaller your stop loss pips, the greater your profit. Now, the take profit in this case, because I'm going for 1 to 2, would be 6. But there is a note there saying that the risk to reward overrides that number. Now, it happens to be correct. But even if I mistyped this number, my trade assistant would get me out at 6 pips because I'm risking 3 pips to make 6 pips. The random magic number for prop firm use is very important. I've got this on false because I'm on a demo account, but it is important to remember that if you're going onto a live prop firm account, your magic number and your trade comment needs to be different to mine. The prop firm will notice if you use the same magic number as I'm using, and it may disqualify one or both of us. And if it sees 100 people using my magic number, we'll all be in trouble. So you need to generate a magic number, and it could be absolutely any number you like and any comment you like, so long as it's different to mine. So basically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I click on that again, I can delete that, and I can put any number I want in there. I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in again, just to be consistent. Now, there we go. The reason why this magic number is important, apart from the relevance to a prop firm account, is because I'm potentially trading 4 pairs at the same time. And I want my trade assistant to manage the losses and the profits of a combination of 4 potential trades. So where are we? I'm looking for the magic number. Where are we? Down here. So where we're looking at the expert protections, I'll come back up to the ones I missed out shortly. The expert protections is a means of limiting your daily losses or your daily profits. In fact, if you remember that we've got 2 potential crossfire sessions, in the UK it's 6 a.m. and 1 p.m. There's actually 2 lots of pairs that need to be protected. So I'm talking here about the afternoon session only. So this magic number applies to the 4 pairs that I'm going to be trading this afternoon. And what I want the trade assistant to do is to I want daily loss detection to be true, and I want the balance at the start of the loss at the as a percentage of the balance at the start of the day to be 2%. So basically, I'm risking losing 0.5% on 1 pair, but altogether I'm risking losing 2% because I'm looking at 4 pairs. There have been times when the trade assistant has got me into 4 trades at about the same time, and I'm either risking losing a maximum of 2%, or I'm risking gaining a maximum of 4%. Remember, the risk reward is 1 to 2. So I'm telling when this is on true, if you toggle it, you could change it to false, but I'm going to change it back to true. I'm asking the trade assistant to stop trading when I reach the point of being minus 2%. So in money terms, on my $100,000 account, I'm prepared to risk a maximum of $2,000 in 1 session. On the opposite side, so that's what that number 2 is. The daily basket profit, and this is the basket refers to the 4 pairs. So we put the 4 pairs into 1 basket, and these expert protections apply to that basket of 4 pairs. Now, I'm asking the trade manager to stop trading when my percentage profit as a ratio, as a percentage of the daily balance at the start, to stop trading if I ever reach 6%. Now remember, I'm prepared to lose a maximum of 2% at a risk reward of 1 to 2. If I was to win all 4 trades, I'd be looking at 4% gain. I've put 6 in there to give it a little bit of wiggle room, because occasionally going back to the word I used before, slippage, occasionally your profit may be more than $1,000 per trade. You could be as high as $1,100, but I'm putting 6 in there so as not to lose out on any additional potential profits. And I'm asking the trade manager, trade assistant, to put these 4 pairs into a global basket with the magic number, and I'm clicking that true. You can turn it off if you wish, but I don't see why you want to. So I've got it on false at the minute. If I just code it back, it's on true. So that is managing my total potential loss and my total potential gain in one session. Once you reach either of those numbers, you'll see a message along the bottom here on this right-hand side, which will say, words to the effect of come back tomorrow. I'm not going to do any more trading, and it will not take any further trades once you've either reached a loss of 2% or a gain of 6% in one day. Now let's go back up here. We've got, I move my chart to the left, and when it comes out the box, I believe it's about 15 or maybe 18. I've changed that to 40. You just click on it and toggle it, and you can change it to any number that you want. But I want it to be 60, 60. And basically what that does is it moves the chart slightly to the left, so it doesn't get mixed up with all of this information on the right of your chart. I'm going to put that back to my number, which is 40. That's that. I want the trade manager to show me the pips of the open trade. So that is this information here. When the trade manager gets me into a trade, this 0.0 pips will change to a higher number or a lower number. It'll change color, and if I'm in profit, it'll be, the lettering will be in blue, and it'll say 1.0 pips or 2.5 pips or whatever. If I'm in drawdown, it'll be, the lettering will be in red, and it'll say minus 2 pips, minus 4 pips, etc. So that is where the 0.0 pips is. That information changes once I get into a trade. Whilst I'm on that line there, it's 2, which just changed to 3 and back again, is the current broker spread. So the current broker spread right now on my FTMO demo account is not 2 pips or not 3 pips, it's 0.2 pips or 0.3 pips. It's actually points rather than pips. So for this to be 3 pips, that will be, that number there will be 30. And then the third part of that information is a countdown timer. This is telling me that there are 6 seconds left on the current. Just changed to 1.57, 1.54, so that's that piece of information there. Show pips open trade true, send alerts when the trade is placed. This is a great feature of the trade assistant. We no longer have to sit staring at the chart, waiting, watching the moves. You can set the trade manager running, and you can literally walk away from your computer. Or you may be working on something else. You may have a different tab open, and you may be working on something else. Even if you're in a different room, you can hear there's an audible alert as soon as the trade manager gets you into a trade. Now, there's another piece of information here, and then I'll talk about the features of the trade assistant. You've got, you can actually tell the trade assistant the maximum number of spread in pips that you're prepared to accept in terms of when you get into a trade or not. So I've got my maximum spread set at 2 pips. That is down to the fact that if you've got a maximum, if you've got a spread on any pair of, say, 3 pips or 3.5 pips, I personally, this is a personal choice, don't want to be in that trade, because the spread is going to reduce my potential profits significantly. Basically, if you're in for a buy, your broker will put you in. If you've got a spread of 3 pips, your broker will put you in 3 pips below the price that's on your chart. And therefore you have to achieve 3 pips extra in order to achieve your target profit. I don't think that's worthwhile. You may think it is worthwhile, but I'm going to keep my maximum spread to 2 pips. If you look at I'm just going to close this for a minute and look at the 4 charts and just see what the current spreads are. The spreads change continuously. So the Euro US is 0.3 pips. That's 3 points, 2 points. The GBP US dollar is currently 0.6 pips. The Canadian dollar pairs are higher, 1.7 pips on that one and 1.6 pips on that one. But we're well within the 2 pips limit that I've set. That isn't constant. There are times of the day when the spreads go absolutely crazy. I was watching the charts the other day, and some news event occurred, and it was probably GBP USD, and it went from this sort of level, less than 1 pip spread, it went up to 9 pips spread, only momentarily, but that would have affected my my trading. So I don't want to be in a trade when pips are going crazy. So I want my trade assistant to limit getting into a trade when the broker spread is too high. So I'm going to right click on that chart again, and when it does, there we go. Expert list, properties, and we're back to where we were. So we've looked at all of these. If anybody has any questions about the risk numbers, the risk to reward, and any of this information in this top part, really down to that. I'm going to start talking about that one in a second, but down to that point, if anybody's got any questions, please message me. Send me a message on Facebook Messenger. If we're not already friends on Facebook, send me a friend request first, and then you'll be able to message me, and I'll do my best to reply. I'm also going to use any questions that I get to form the basis of further videos in future. So partial close settings, I'm going to leave those for another video, but it is possible for you to close a trade part the way through, and that way you ensure that you at least get some profit from the trade. But I'll come back to those in a second. Sorry, I'll come back to those in a separate video and go into that. It's a really handy tool to be able to use. But I'm going to move down a little bit to new settings. That's the next one I need to talk about. New settings. You'll see on the chart to the left here, there's a vertical line. It happens to be orange. There are 3 colors, 3 possible colors. You've got orange, which is indicating some medium impact news. If that line is red, indicating high impact news, and if it's yellow, it's indicating low impact news. Now, I prefer not to be in a trade when news occurs, because price can go crazy for from anything from a few seconds to a few minutes, and I don't want to be caught up in a trade that is being affected by news. So I want my trade assistant to show me the news events. If I toggle that to false and come out of that, you'll see that those lines disappear. I like those lines to be present. It doesn't change anything, but it does remind me that there's a news event if I'm sitting watching the chart. But what it does is the trade assistant recognizes that there is some news, and if I've got this to true, there we are, it's now on true. I want it to stop trading during the news, and I want it to stop trading in this situation 8 minutes before the news, and I want it to stop trading until 4 minutes have passed after the news. Now those figures are just happen to be my numbers. You can choose any numbers you want. You could choose 10 minutes before and 5 minutes after. You could choose 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after. I'm comfortable with 8 and 4. It will not get me into a trade from 8 minutes before to 4 minutes after. If I'm already in a trade, when it gets to 8 minutes before, it'll keep me in that trade. And it'll keep me in the trade until I either override the trade manager or I get my take profit or my stop loss. Now, the other important thing here is the importance of the news. I've got mine set on moderate. If I click on that and then get the drop-down menu, I can set it to none, low, moderate, and high. I think moderate is probably the one to go for. My setting is moderate. You can play around with that if you wish. But that's the news settings, and that will protect your account by not being in a trade when there's high or moderate impact news. Okay, so we're moving swiftly along. We're now looking at Crossfire properties, and let me just look further down. Okay. So under Crossfire properties, this number here is minutes to look back for high and low. If you ever watch me trading Crossfire manually, you'll remember that I used to draw the trend lines on at the end of the first 15 minutes, and I would look back for the nearest high candle, the nearest higher candle, and I would look back for the nearest lower candle. I would draw my trend lines from that point. And I used to only look back as far as the start of today's session. So if we're looking at minutes, if we're looking at 1 p.m. start in the UK, I would need to look back for 900 minutes because the day's session actually starts at 10 p.m. This is the Asian session, which starts at 10 p.m. the previous day. So I would have to look back 900 minutes. The reason it's 840 minutes is because we're in a temporary situation at the moment where we're not starting trading at 1 p.m. We're starting trading an hour earlier at 12 noon. And that's down to the fact that in the US, they put their clock forwards a couple of weeks ago. And so they've slightly caught up with us. We're trading Crossfire at 1 p.m. in the afternoon because that equates to 8 a.m. in New York EST time. So we're in a temporary situation where we're having to start trading at 12 noon UK time. And if you're in the States, it doesn't affect the time. It doesn't affect your trading time. It's still 8 a.m. in New York. So it's now the 26th of March. So next Sunday, the UK clocks go forward, and we need to change this number to 1300 instead of 1200. And it will remain at 1300 until the clock change in October. But it's just one of those anomalies where the American clocks go forward at a different time to the UK clocks. But in order to catch the move, and this generally well, quite often a big move round about 8:30 EST time, New York time, and we want to catch that. So we're catching that at around about 12:30 today, but next week we'll go back to catching it at 1:30. So hope that explains that. So when we go back to 1300, we'll also need to change this to 900. So the regular settings are 900 minutes. We need the trade assistant to look back at 10 p.m. the previous day. The minutes forward is okay at 15. The minutes valid trading, I've got mine set to 180 minutes. So I want my trade assistant to start operating right now at 12 noon, and I want it to continue looking for trades until 3 p.m. In New York time, that's from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. We used to do a 2-hour session from 1 till 3, but we've noticed that there's quite often a bit of movement after the 3 p.m. mark, so we added another hour. So just to recap, that will need to change back to 900 before you start trading next Monday. This will need to, this time will need to change back to 1300 from next Monday onwards. The line width is the thickness of the trend lines. I think when it comes out of the box, it's set on 2. I like mine a little bit thicker. So the green trend line, the red trend line, I've made them a bit thicker. I've got mine on 4. And then trading time settings. So I don't want my trading assistant to operate on a Sunday, but I do want it to operate Monday to Friday. So false, true, 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 true. Keep those other 2 on false. You need to set your, if you click on that, you're given a drop-down menu, and it gives you 2 choices. USA summertime and Euro summertime. Those are the only 2 choices. So I'm in the UK, so I'm on the Euro summertime. Anywhere in the States, you're on USA summertime. You need to just double check your settings if you are in a different time zone to the New York time zone or the EST. But you need to be trading at the equivalent of 8 a.m. in New York, wherever you are in the world. So that's a drop-down menu that you can toggle depending on where you are in the world. Right, exit signal settings. If you click on that one there, you'll see that it gives you another drop-down menu, and you're telling your trading assistant when you want it to get out of a trade. So you can exit on the take profit. So you're telling the trading assistant to wait until price gets to your take profit. Or you can ask it to get you out on a Heikin-Ashi chain. So that's these green wave candles when they change. If you're in a buy and you've got a green wave and the wave begins to change to red, you can ask the trade assistant to take you out of the trade even before you reach your take profit. This one is not, so the HMA change is not valid on Crossfire. We don't use the HMA. That stands for the whole moving average, which doesn't apply to Crossfire. So I've got mine set on take profit only. So I'm asking my trade assistant to stay in the trade until it hits my take profit target. The Heikin-Ashi settings are pretty standard. I don't have changed any of these. So this is Heikin-Ashi smoothing period 18. I've got a setting of 38. I've got zero there. I don't want to look at the wicks. So these are Heikin-Ashi candles. I'm not looking at any wicks on that. I just want to look at the pattern. So I've got false on the wicks. Signal look bars. Okay, so let me just go back to the chart. One of the factors that Costello uses when entering a trade is, has there been a recent wave change? Now, recent is not a number, is it? We need to give the trading assistant a number to work on. So what we need to do, let's say we were looking at the chart round about here. We've got a red wave, and it recently changed from green to red. And you need to tell the trading assistant how far back to look. So if you're in this candle here, you don't count that green candle there because that's the current candle. You start counting backwards: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that would qualify as a valid trade, because my setting is telling the trading assistant to look back 10 candles. I should mention, by the way, that I'm actually operating on the 2-minute chart. So 10 2-minute candles is 20 minutes. So I think that's a reasonable figure. If we were looking at price change, let's ignore that green wave there. Let's say this is the first green wave. Are we looking, and we're in that candle? We need to wait for another candle to develop, and then that would be one candle. The current candle will be candle 0. This will be candle number 1. So the change from red to green would have occurred within the last 10 candles. I think that if the change occurs beyond 10 candles ago, you don't have as good a probability of a successful trade. But you can change that to your own style. You can change any of these numbers. Go back to expert list, go back to properties, and need to find that look back number. So I've got my setting. I'm looking at these are the Heikin-Ashi settings. So these are the Heikin-Ashi. This is the Heikin-Ashi wave. 18 and 38, pretty standard. That's standard. Step size, standard. I don't want to see the wicks. I'm looking at the signal look back bars of 10, and then the look back bars to display needs to be a bigger number than the 10. So I put random number, I put 20 in there. And show the HA indicator, I put that, I want that to be true. If you can toggle that to false, and if you go out of it, you'll find that the Heikin-Ashi wave, smooth Heikin-Ashi candles, the wave has disappeared. So I need to put that back on. Property, go back down. Heikin-Ashi setting. So there we are. So that false needs to be changed to true. Okay, I'm going to pause those settings for a minute, and I just want to recap on really the main benefits of the trading assistant. So first of all, if I was trading manually without the trading assistant, I would need to manually draw on my 2 trend lines. And if I'm looking at 4 pairs, I've got to do 4 lots of 2 trend lines, and that takes up some time. It also means that I'm not focusing on the actual price action. So the trading assistant is an improvement because it actually monitors all 4 pairs at the same time it actually draws on the trend lines automatically, so I don't need to do that. So that's benefit number one. Benefit number two is the trading assistant will get you into a trade as soon as your four criteria are satisfied. So there's no hesitation, there's no thinking about it, there's no double checking. It gets you in as at the moment that the criteria are satisfied, and it sends you a signal, an audible signal, and you also get a visual signal, by the way. You get a little pop-up on the chart. So you don't have to sit and look at the charts all of the time. You can walk away and providing you're close enough and you'll hear the signal, you'll hear the audible signal, and you can come back to the computer and you can monitor the trade. But the great thing about the trade is each, as I said before, each of these four pairs has got a different lot size. So I've got three, a stop loss of 3 pips on Euro USD. I've got a stop loss of 4 pips on GBP USD, and I've got a stop loss of 5 pips on the 2 Canadian dollar pairs. Now, if I'm getting into a trade manually, I have to calculate my lot size by referencing my percentage risk that I'm prepared to make, and that also takes time. So by the time I get into the trade, calculate my lot size, potentially I could have lost some pips. And the other thing is it's going to use my stop loss that I've told it to use. So it can potentially get me into 4 trades at the same time and automatically calculate the lot size because of the pip size on all 4 quite separately. So I'm getting it into a trade much easier. It's much less, there's much less delay and thinking about it. So to me, those are the main benefits of the trading assistant. It automatically calculates all of those factors for me. It'll then show me on the screen some of those some of that information. I'm not trading live at the moment, so I can't show you that, but I'll do my best to describe it. So we've now got down as far as FVG settings. Ignore that. The Costello trading assistant does not reference the FVG settings. So I've got the FVG signal set on false, and therefore it doesn't appear on my chart. Same with HMA settings. That's the whole moving average. I don't want the HMA indicator on my chart, so I've got that one set to false too. These are the interesting ones, and there's quite a lot here, but I'll go through the ones that we need to change. Let me go back to that. Okay, so MA crossover. This is what I'm looking at now. Remember that one of the filters that I've asked my trading assistant to use is to wait for an MA crossover, and therefore I've got use 3MA entry filter, show 3MA indicator, and also use the 2MA cross signal. I've got all of those set to true. If you toggle them, they go to false, but I'm working on true. And what that does is, remember we on the Heikin-Ashi, smooth Heikin-Ashi wave, we asked the trade assistant to look back as far as 10 candles. We've got the same setting here. You can change this if you wish, but I'm comfortable at the minute with it on. I'm comfortable with it looking back up to 10 candles, and if the change has occurred within the last 10 candles, it's a valid trade. If it's occurred before the last 10 candles, then it's not a valid trade. Now, I've only got 2 lines on my chart. You could have a third moving average. I'm just using 2 moving average. I've got this goal line here, which if you hover over it, I think I've got to come out of the settings for that to work. But this is the 13 moving average, and the white line is the 200 moving average. So I've got the fast moving average, the fastest moving average is the 13. So I've put my moving average to 13. You can change it to any number you want. I'm using 13. I'm using a line. I think when it comes out the box, the line width is 2. I've got mine set to 4, and I've got mine set to gold. So that is this line here. We then move on to the medium. Now, the medium moving average and the slow moving average, I've got both mine set to 200. So I only see 2 lines. I've actually got 3 lines on, but 2 of them are exactly copies. So the 200 is the white one. I've got it set to 200, and I've got it on white. And the same with the slow. I've got it set to 200, and that is also on white. So those are the only things you need to change. It looks complex, but it's not. There are 2 lines. I'm using 3 moving averages, but 2 of them are, one of them is duplicating the other. So it's fairly straightforward. Let me go a little bit further down. So this is the water atta. Okay, so this is the 4th filter. Okay, so these are the water atta numbers. I haven't changed any of them. These are straight out the box. True, close, 20, 40, 85, 20, 2.0, and yes. So I haven't changed any of them. One of the reasons for this update is that Oliver has kindly done a couple of tweaks, and one of them was on the water atta, and this seems to be working fine on the straight out the box numbers. You don't need to change anything. There are some special settings, and I haven't changed any of them. So I've got 1, 2, 5, false, true. There's one here this show manual trade panel, true. This is this little panel here, which allows you to enter and exit trades just by clicking the buy button and the close live and the sell button and the close sell. That overrides anything on the trading assistant. So let's say, for instance, for whatever reason, you wanted to get into a buy trade on this pair, you simply click buy. It would automatically calculate your lot size so that you're only risking 0.5% in my case. It would calculate your take profit so that you were making so your risk to reward was 1 to 2. It would automatically apply your stop loss figure, and it would automatically apply your take profit figure just by pressing that one button there. It's set on that says auto. It's not 100% clear. It's an AUTO auto buy, auto sell. When you want to get out, close buy, close sell. I tend not to use that. I tend to rely on my trade manager because it will follow to the letter my instructions. So if it gets me into a trade at the wrong time, it's because my settings are wrong. If it gets me into the wrong trade, it's because my settings are wrong. So you need to, I think you need to trust your training assistant and make alterations to your training assistant as necessary. what I was going to mention here, Oliver's put this on the latest edition. Index mode is horizontal lines only. Now remember, when I used to trade manually, I would draw my trend line. So I draw a green trend line. I would look back for a higher candle, and I would draw a green trend line coming downwards. I would draw a red line going upwards. There is the possibility now of changing this one to true. It won't work because I'm not actually in a trading session at the minute. But if I change that to true, my green and red trend lines would be purely horizontal lines. So I'm going to change it back to false now, don't forget. If I come out of that, let's say the 15-minute period at 12 o'clock was here. The horizontal line would be across the top, the highest point, and so that would be the green trend line, horizontal, and the red trend line would be across the bottom there. So you have parallel horizontal lines, and I've only had access to this for the last couple of days. I think there might be something in this, and so when price breaks out of those parallel lines, you could get your trading assistant to, you could instruct your trading assistant to take a buy or a sell, depending on direction. You could, and this is something that I've been playing with as well. If I was going to use those horizontal higher points, higher line there and lower line there, I would actually disable the MA crossover filter, because it may not be necessary. We may be missing some trades using the 4 filters, and this is actually worth looking at. We might get some extra trades by using the horizontal line. If you just knew, and I would recommend that you stick to where we get the name of the strategy from, Crossfire. We get a crossover. So you get a downward green trend line, you get an upward red trend line, and the crossover point is important. So if you're new to Crossfire, I would suggest you stick to the normal way of doing things. But you might want to test things out using that those parallel lines. As I say, I've only had access to this for about 48 hours, so I cannot categorically state anything on that. But right, so I've been going for quite a while now. I think I've covered all the main points that I wanted to cover. Apart from maybe managing expectations, because I've got 4 criteria. I've got the price relationship to the 2 trend lines. Above the green trend line, I look for a buy. Below the red trend line, I look for a sell. So that's filter number 1. The change of wave is filter number 2. The moving average crossover is filter number 3. Sorry, did I say 3 before? That's not the wave change is number 2. The MA crossover is number 3, and the water atta is number 4. Because I've got 4 filters, I'm not getting lots and lots of trades. Now, at one extreme, I have had 4 trades, or a trade on all 4 pairs at the same time, and I made around about 4% in the one session. And then I've had other days where it's taken 3 trades at the same time. And then other days where it's only taken 1 trade in the whole session. And at the other extreme, I've had consecutive days when it hasn't taken any trades at all. And that's down to the fact I'm setting the bar pretty high. But in doing so, I'm reducing I'm increasing my win rate. I'm reducing the percentage of losses. I just want to throw something in at this point. If you've got a risk to reward of 1 to 2, and you are, let's say you're taking 12 trades over a period of time. Let's say you take 12 trades over a period of time and you win 50%. So you're winning 6 trades and you're losing 6 trades. So your 6 winning trades will give you 1% each. So that's plus 6%. And your 6 losing trades lose 0.5% each. So you're losing 3%. So at a 50% win rate, you're going to be ahead by 3%. Is that right? Six trades at 1% is 6% minus, yeah. So you're going to be ahead if you get a win rate of 50%. You're going to be at break even if you're only winning 33%, 33.3%. You're going to be at break even, and with the commission, your broker's trade, etc., you're going to be at a loss position if you're only winning 1 out of 3. But if you're winning 1 in 2 or 6 in 12, you're going to be ahead. And if you're winning 2 out of 3, you're going to be quite happy. So don't get too anxious if you're not taking many trades. The important thing is your win rate combined with your risk to reward. And that's where the money is involved now. And that's not making any financial claims, that's just doing the math. So I'm going to close it on that point. I'm going to suggest that you send me any questions. I'm going to do further videos, but in the meantime, if you anything that you're confused about, not clear about, send me a Facebook Messenger. As I said earlier, if you're not already one of my friends on Facebook, send me a Facebook request. I will get back to you. I'll also incorporate your question in one of the later videos. So I'm going to stop sharing now. Thanks for jumping on, and I'm going to post this in Discord and on YouTube.